How is everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of The Banker Next Door. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Berquist. I hope everyone is having a blessed week out there so far. I am, sitting here with the holiday tradition, if you will. I got my rocking my ugly sweater and just just jingling along here. So yesterday I did a book review on The Wealthy Gardener, and today we're going to kind of continue our spiritual guide, as it were, on the trail of money. And today we are going to examine the dangers of we're going to learn the dangers of false financial concepts. And we're going to be looking at Jim Sammons is a gentleman that I have followed for many, many years. And he did what was called his financial freedom seminar. If everybody remembers back to the Easter special that I did earlier this year, I just recommended some books that I thought are different, books and things that I thought people should check out when they got a chance. And the financial freedom seminar from Jim Sammons was one of the things that I mentioned. But now here, I'm actually going to get a little bit more in depth. We're going to review chapter 3 of this because I thought it kind of, hit home. So the Financial Freedom Seminar, this is basically, like I said, Jim Sammons is the author of this. He originally wrote this in 1983. The publisher is the Institute in Basic Life Principles. And today we're going to be looking at chapter 3, which is Learn the Dangers of False Financial Concepts. And we're going to run through this, but I believe you can go if you're interested in getting this. Again, I have no sponsorship deal, nothing like that, anything of any kind with Mr. Sammons or his company. But like I said, if you're interested in doing this, I'm sure that they still sell this out there. I'm sure he still sells it on his website. You can go buy it. It comes with like a manual and a workbook and it comes with like a whole DVD set. I think it's like 10 or 12 DVDs. But it's an incredible seminar, and I think it's phenomenal. In the teachings and the way you will definitely come away with a whole different view of money after we go through this. That is absolutely for sure. But anyway, so let's get in here. So let's talk about identify and reject false financial concepts. So there's 16 basically false financial concepts here that we're going to look at. So number 1 is, if you think, act, and look successful, will you become successful? Number 2, is it true that there is no excuse for a person's being poor? Number 3, can every man determine his own financial destiny? Number 4, can you achieve whatever your mind can conceive and believe? Number 5, should you make it your goal to become financially independent so that you will not have to look to other people for help? Number 6, do the material things that you provide for your family make up for any sacrifices that a job requires? Number 7, can a person borrow his way to financial success? Very interesting. Bankers take note of this one. Number 8, is being the president of your own business the ultimate financial goal? Now, before we go on to the remaining 16, I just want to run through these for a second. So the answer to all these is no. But number 1, this concept causes a person to believe that he, rather than God, is the source of power to get wealth. God warns us not to say in our heart. Number 2, this statement sounds true, but it is scripturally false. The rich and the poor meet together. The Lord is the maker of them all. Number 3, this idea causes a man to be self-centered rather than God-centered. It gives him the idea that whatever destiny he chooses will be right. However, money gained contrary to God's principles will bring sorrow with it. Number 4, this concept is based on the false idea that a man can achieve financial independence and true happiness apart from God. It puts confidence in human ability rather than giving proper recognition to God's enablement. Number 5, this goal encourages just the opposite of God's warning not to trust in uncertain riches. Although it is not wrong to prepare for the future, God does not want us to develop a spirit of independence from Him or from others. Number 6, if a man's wife or children feel that his job is more important to him than they are, they will despise him and look at the things he provides as attempts to buy their affections. Very, very important. Number 7, a person may increase his assets by borrowing during a time of rising inflation. However, Financial success is not measured by assets, but by freedom from greed, worry, and bondage. Does this sound kind of interesting? This was written in 1983, but is this kind of hitting home? Sounds awful familiar to the moment, right? Number 8, this concept runs counter to the very spirit of Christ's teaching on both serving and being successful in business. The goal is not to become the boss, but to become the servant of all. There's this thing called servant leadership, which I have talked about in the past. Now let's move on to the next 8. So number 9, do you have the right to decide how you will spend the money that you earn? Interesting question. Number 10, in order to be successful, you must overcome every obstacle that is between you and your financial goals. Number 11, can you build a successful business with a good advertising program? Number 12, can you measure your success by the amount of money that you earn? Number 13, are those who reach the top of the success ladder usually self-made people? Number 14, must you be willing to compromise if you want success in the business world? Number 15, in order to be promoted in a big company, is who you know more important than what you know? And number 16, is it true that there is no real virtue in being poor? Very interesting concepts here. Let's see what we have. So number 9, this concept is totally opposite of God's teaching. The money that we have does not belong to us. Interesting. We are only stewards of that which God has entrusted to us. We demonstrate our stewardship each week by tithes and offerings. Number 10, God wants us to recognize that some obstacles are given by him as reproofs. He designs these obstacles so that we will turn from our ways and follow his direction. Fascinating. So some obstacles and challenges are actually thrown at us by God, and because he's telling us, he wants us to kind of get back over here. Number 11, a successful business must be built on word of mouth promotion by satisfied customers. The better and more vital the product, the less advertising is needed. The scriptural counsel is that we should not praise ourselves, but that we should let others praise us instead. So another word of mouth by putting out a good product, being a good person, and standing by your word. Number 12, this is a false picture of success and of life. It is based on the assumption that one's emotional needs, such as peace, security, happiness, acceptance, and fulfillment, will be met through money. This assumption is untrue because these needs are only satisfied through a right relationship with God. Number 13, this prideful idea totally overlooks the fact that it is God who putteth down one and setteth up another. It also discounts all the investments which parents and others have made in our lives. Those who believe that they are fully responsible for their own success will soon experience the reaction of the ones who helped them reach it. Pride is believing that we achieved what in reality God and others have done for us and through us. Number 14, just the opposite is true. If we compromise basic scriptural convictions for financial gain, our success will be short-lived and there will be trouble with the money that we gain. Number 15, the quality of your work will bring you to the attention of the right people. Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men. Number 16, however, this answer is based on the right definition of virtue and the right understanding of poverty. Virtue is the positive moral influence which we have on the lives of others. Poverty comes in at least 4 different forms. There is real virtue in 2 of these forms, and there can be virtue in the other 2 depending on our responses to it. So the 4 types of poverty, you have chastening poverty. The virtue there is influences others to obey God. You have number 2 is testing poverty, helps others not to trust in riches. Number 3 is redemptive poverty that prompts others to praise God. And number 4 is attitude poverty, encourages others to be humble. So it's very interesting, different 4 types of poverty. And I would probably go into that more in depth and probably at another time in another episode, but it's a very interesting concept of 4 different types of poverty. Then we go on to 5 factors controlling wealth. You have natural resources and natural laws, basic human needs, wisdom and inventive ability, human strength and talent, and circumstances. And this leads into the reward of tracing all wealth to God. God created natural resources and natural laws. God designed basic human needs. God gives wisdom and inventive ability. God sustains human strength and talent, and God controls circumstances. Now, here we go next, and then we go to man's way to financial success. Let's look at a couple of these real quick. Focus on power and position, emphasis on rights and freedom, desire to gain for self, concern for immediate fulfillment. Any of these sound familiar? Yearning for the praise of men, aspiration to be served, need for pushing ahead, striving to lead men, interest in competition, motivation for self-glorification. I think that all of us have fallen prey to a number of these desires at one time or another, and it is a very interesting list to study and understand. But then we move on to God's way to financial success. Focus on submission, i.e., think servant leadership, emphasis on personal responsibility, desire to meet the needs of others. In other words, your family, your friends, your coworkers, fellow countrymen, desire to, concern for lasting achievement, yearning for the approval of God, aspiring to serve others, need for patience, striving to follow God, interest in cooperation, and then finally, motivation for God's glory. And then I would just wrap up here with this quote from Matthew 23:11-12. He that is greatest among you shall be your servant, and whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. I want everybody to dwell on that one a little bit. By tracing all wealth to God, we free ourselves to find true security and true riches in our relationship with him, for he can never be destroyed or taken away. I want everybody to think on that. So again, I thought this was very, very important to share with you guys on this great Holy Week, as we kind of continue a little bit more of a spiritual journey as it relates to money and wealth. As we continue on, and like I said, for Christmas tomorrow, I'll have kind of a special episode. It'll be a little bit different than other episodes, but it's going to kind of continue a little bit of the theme of what I laid out there here in the first couple episodes this week. But again, I hope you will dwell on this. And if you find any of this really interesting, I hope you will go check out Jim Sammons' Financial Freedom Seminar. And with that, I will wrap up by saying, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, we are on all major podcast platforms. We are also on YouTube and Rumble. Please be sure to leave your comments down below. Make sure to please check out some of the other content on the channel. And I will see everybody again real soon. Have a blessed week out there. And again, like I said, see everybody again.